So we're living in a time right now where, because you keep bringing up team being extremely important, and you keep bringing up team as the thing that's really helped accelerate you, and I think you would include the mentors and the investors in those teams, and your decisiveness in those decisions, I think it has been incredible. We're living in a time, and I don't necessarily think it's in your business industry or something like that, but you're seeing a lot of people, um, because of some of the COVID funds that have been available, have been able to maybe sit on the bench for a little bit longer from an unemployment standpoint. And a lot of the cases people are saying is because they're not making enough money, or they don't want to work for that type of business, right? So you're hearing that from the general public, from the media perspective.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make the parallel that that's your business in any kind of way.
Right.
But how can you learn from hearing some of this stuff to make sure that you don't create a business that is not sought after, that is not something that people wouldn't want to go to? What are you doing internally to make sure that people want to go to work, and build something that's changing the world? Because I think oftentimes we're not hearing the positive aspects of the companies that are building amazing products, services, companies, brands, and what they're doing to help those teammates live better lives as well. So what do you guys do from an internal perspective to make sure that your teammates are part of something that they want to talk about?
All right. So I think when you start a company, you have to make a fundamental decision. Are you going to be a lifestyle business? Are you buying yourself a job? Or are you trying to create a business that can scale huge? Where the odds of failure are higher, but if you succeed, obviously the rewards are bigger, but also the impact to the world is bigger, right? And there's great businesses out there that are great restaurant businesses or stores, or that's not what we wanted to do. I think being in tech, software's eating the world, right? It was just a place that we wanted to be. And I think tech really transcends it transcends. It's not, I won't say it's recession proof, because there's a lot of tech companies that struggle because of where they served. But I mean, you look at tech, I think tech's been the big winner here in the crisis. So, if anyone's ever starting a company, I would never invest in a non-tech company personally. Like if I were to become an angel or a VC downstream, that's what I would bias towards.
How much of the hiring you had massive growth over the course of the COVID timeframe?
Yeah.
Did you hire a majority, if not all, of those people without ever meeting them in person?
Almost every single one was never face to face. Not, in fact, there were people that I didn't meet for a year, like a good portion.
And it sounds like you're really happy with your team. So what did you go through with the hiring process to ensure success?
So there's a few things that we did. First thing, I hired employee number 11 was a talent acquisition manager. She's amazing. She was working. She did talent acquisition for Amazon, Open Table, Airtable, and just somebody who really knows how to find great people. A lot of people were like, "Really, that's employee? That's a bit early." And the way I look at it is, 80% of my total spend is on people, on salaries. Right? It is the biggest cost I have. So why wouldn't I put something like that in the hands of a person when it's the 80% of all my cost, right? And that has proved to be an amazing, like if I'm going to pat myself on the back about any decision, that's that one, right? And she crushes it. Teresa's amazing. And I'm not going to say her last name because I don't want anyone to poach her. So what's that?
You mean T.
T. You're right. T. Man. We had two T's, so I had to call her Teresa. So, but so that's huge. But there's another thing, and it's culture and automating the interview process, because it's not only that you got to find them, but you got to get, it's a two-way interview, right? You've got to get people that you want to join, but you also got to get them to want to join. And so we automated our hiring process using a software platform named Greenhouse. We got a lot of tools when it's time for me to interview a candidate, I get an email ahead of time. It tells me exactly what the major question points for the role are. The resume's right there, LinkedIn profile right there. It's all like I can prepare for an interview in under 15 minutes, and there's no emails being blasted around. And then right after the meeting, I can do a survey. In fact, I get pinged automatically that I have to fill out a survey, and those surveys get compiled and cross-checked. And everybody who interviewed them, you can compare across the board, and you can make a really quick decision. And making that quick decision is really important to candidates because they don't want to be left hanging over a 3-week interview cycle. So we don't do the long maybe, right? We're super decisive about hiring people. So that enables us to get great people. But the other thing is we talk about culture in our hiring process, and culture is super important to us, right? So smart creatives do not like enforcement cultures. And so you cannot, how are you going to get people to do what you want? Well, what you do is you set out some cultural principles that everyone you can believes in, and you got to get them to believe in it before you hire them. So they select in, right? And if they don't believe in the culture, they're just not going to be happy. We're not going to be happy. It's not going to work out. And so, be exothermic is one of the first cultural principles that we lay out there. And what that means is give off more energy than you consume, right? The opposite is an energy vampire, right? So an energy vampire is like that person you talk to, and after like 15 minutes, you're like, oh, I need a Snickers bar. But I can't do anything else until I have that, right? And
you're not you when you're not eating a Snickers.
Exactly, right? And so and there's a founder, he was founder of a unicorn, and he said, beware the a-hole tax. He didn't say a-hole either. And right. And it's amazing, like when you have someone like that, they drain everybody. You just can't afford to have that. So
I was going to ask, have you guys had to let go of people, and what did you learn in that kind of regard, if you have?
Well, not everyone's here that started with the company, and it's not something we like to really belabor, but I think the thing that you do is when expectations are being met, you just have to be candid, and you got to give them opportunity to remedy. And you got to keep saying, hey, this is what we're expecting from you. And they have to make a choice whether or not they're in or they're out. But when you look at it, I look at it from a different perspective, right? Like right now we have 31 employees. It's 120 family members that we're responsible for, right? And, there are people that if they're not taking care of their fellow team members by not doing their job, they're actually putting them at risk. And a person that doesn't care about that, it's hard to have them on the team, right? So, and I'll be honest with you, by just keeping those, like when you have all the right people aligned on the cultural principles, when somebody gets in who's not there, the team actually does a lot more enforcement and exerts way more pressure than the management, right? And that's a sign of a really strong team, is that everyone's bought in.